Hello everyone, I'm ToolSin and welcome to the cnft.tools Discord server. I'm joined by the Frog Factory ahead of their night shift drop, which is coming up pretty soon, which we're going to hear all about. Look forward to hearing all about it. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
All right, I'll go first. I'm Pennywise. Um, my real name's Jeff. I live in Oklahoma. I'm one of the artists and co-owners of the Frog Factory.
I'm Frogman. I'm Keaton. I'm from Oklahoma, and I'm a co-owner of Frog Factory. I handle the social promotion side of things.
What's up? That's Patrick, Full Hardy Block. Handle social with Keaton, Frogman. I do Discord stuff.
And I'm Wayman, NF Tom. I'm one of the artists and co-owners.
Very nice, very nice. So, how did you guys all meet then?
Well, Frogman's my son, and I started working as an apprentice at the tattoo shop that we work at 2 years ago. And Patrick is Frogman's friend. So
I own the tattoo shop. This is Wayman. I own the tattoo shop. So Jeff, Pennywise, and then Waylon, Obi, and Cam, the dart thrower. They're all tattoo artists here, and they're the other artists. So yeah, we basically just all, like everyone, heard about NFTs and decided to have a go at it. But yeah, that's how we all know each other. We all work at the same tattoo shop.
Ah, very sweet, very sweet. So, what made you choose Cardano over all the other chains out there?
I had a bunch of Cardano. I just invested in. I'd been invested in cryptocurrency for I don't know, maybe about a year before we started the project, and I really didn't know much about NFTs at all when I first started. And then I had bought some. I probably had about 2,500 Cardano that I just had bought, and I had bought some Ethereum NFTs, and it was. I mean, whenever you're just now learning about NFTs, you hear about like people making money, yada yada, and all this other stuff. Well, I lost most of my investment on Ethereum, and I didn't even know Cardano had NFTs, and this was about last maybe September October timeframe,
Okay.
and I had all this Cardano Cardano had started to go down, and I found out about Equine and Boss
Nice.
Cat. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use all this Cardano I have and mint all this stuff. And that's kind of how I got started in Cardano NFTs. Just
Yeah,
dumb luck.
I mean that's two pretty legit projects to get involved with early. That's for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, for me, pretty much Wayman's taught me everything I know about this. Really, we started. He wanted to do a project. My son was trying to do a project at the same time, and when I was doing the art for Frogman's project, Wayman's like, "Yeah, that's not how they do it," because I was drawing each individual,
Angels,
one
addicted
of
angels.
them, and he's like, "Yeah, that's going to take you forever." And right at that time, NFT Toms and Waylon.
One of our artists, Waylon, he had actually started to get paid in NFTs for his tattoos.
Nice.
So that's how we kind of got the idea. Like I had the idea to start because as tattoo artists, like we always get asked for like gift certificates or discounts and stuff. So the first thing we ever had planned was just like if you have one of these NFTs, we were gonna just try to. I had a plan to just make one NFT, but make like 100 of them and just sell them to people for gift certificates. That was my original plan. And then we kind of all came together and like brainstormed, and it evolved into what Frog Factory is.
Nice.
Yeah,
So,
and then I got.
oh, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say I got involved right along the same time that at Wayman and they were all like getting in NFTs, or it was after the fact, but I was like talking about it on my Instagram, and Waylon, another artist here, me and him had started talking, so I came to the shop to like talk with them, and then we all just kind of brainstormed together, like Wayman was saying, and we just kind of ran with the frog idea that day. They closed the shop down for the day, and we just kind of discussed it out.
That's pretty sweet. So, where exactly is the shop where that you're all working out of? Let's give this a shout out here.
We're at Syndicate Tattoos in Mustang, Oklahoma.
It's a suburb of Oklahoma City, which is the state capital.
So yeah, if you want to turn up with a boss cat or something like that, I'm sure a deal could be arranged for a pretty sweet tattoo then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yeah,
Very nice.
I've got like two people that are supposed to come and get boss cat tattoos from me. So,
Oh well, nice.
and we're still working it out with Adam, but we're more than likely going to be able to tattoo at CNFT Con, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'll be
And
pretty amazing actually. I
yeah,
could
we've
certainly
had
be talked into a couple if I was able to make it. Wow, I'd like to have me a Reginald. Not gonna lie.
Right on.
yes.
Um,
Nice, we'll be there for sure. Whether or not we're tattooing is up to
Yeah,
them.
they still gotta get stuff squared away with the health department and the convention center. I think there's gonna be, if they do let us, there'll be us and I know one other person tattooing. So
oh,
Put
that's
those
cool.
frog discounts to use.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's real life utility for everyone right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you've already had the first drop of the day shift of 5,000 frogs. How did that go,
Yes.
and how did that all play out in the end?
It went. I mean, it went really well. Honestly, we didn't have any issues with our mint. Shout out to Tiger Pool. Like, if you have a project, that guy rules at minting and all the services you need for that. It took us about 5.5, 6 weeks to get to 5,000. Um, Slow and steady. Our
Yeah.
Discord is kind of the same way. Like, our Discord's growing. We had about 1,600 during the day shift in our Discord, and I mean, we have a really loyal, uh,
Solid following
solid
community.
community in our Discord.
And the slow organic growth really helped our project.
Yeah, and I think
Actually,
in the long run, it'll pay dividends, man, because we've been able to keep our floor.
steady.
Not that I care about that kind of stuff, but I mean, I do look at it, and like, I mean, I see much bigger projects with much more people, and we're not to throw shade, but like, I think the slow organic growth has helped us maintain where we're at.
And it
Yeah.
helped in the danger start also. Just bigger payouts.
I mean, I found sort of like I was involved in the launching of Cardinos, and back then it was standard to take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to sell out, whatever like that. And I think with a lot of those communities, with the smaller growth, people were able to forge friendships that meant more because
Yeah, for sure.
like you're not it's not a wall of people all coming at once, all asking the same questions, all everything like that. You're getting a proper chance to connect with each member of the community as they join, rather than mass messaging all the time.
Yeah, exactly, and that's cool. Like, because we talk about some of the people in our Discord that we talk to a lot, like first name basis. Like, we don't even
Yeah,
use their Discord names. Like, we know their names and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've spoke on the phone with several of the guys in our Discord. So
yeah.
you really do build friendships.
And I say, I mean, that's. I mean, we all like the art and everything like that, but the community is the strong part of that. And yeah, there's good advantages to not selling out in nanoseconds.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, and I think, like, doing, like, Jeff was talking about, doing the Dangerous Darts live every week, like, it makes it a little bit more personable, you know?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
could put a face to the name anyhow.
for sure. So, how long ago was that drop now?
It was March 13th was the first one, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
and
Liza Mark.
the night shift is coming when?
This Wednesday the 8th
This Wednesday,
at
yeah.
1
So in
o'clock.
like 2 days.
At, yeah,
Yes.
at 1 p.m. our time, which is, I
Nice,
believe, 19 UTC.
nice. Yeah, that's definitely one to be around for sure.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna get people a good 3 or 4 days for the whitelist, and then Sunday we'll start the public, unless the whitelist sells out. All of our people mint, which I very seriously doubt everyone will mint 10 or whatever. But if that happens, we'll start the public a little bit early. But the plan is to start on that following Sunday.
sweet. Yeah, well, keep me updated, and I'll keep your CNFT.tools calendar listing updated with all the latest information for everyone.
Awesome.
Cool.
So, are the night shift a similar style, or what major differences between the day shift and the night shift are there?
It's the same. I mean, we still have 12 golden darts in the mentor. We still have two one of ones,
I think we might add another one of one just so that way both shifts have three.
but it was basically all a 10,000 collection, and we
Right.
cut it in half so we can just pause on the mint, focus on
Marketing,
yes,
since basically like we didn't plan on like fundraising, but that's what we did. Like we wanted to get more eyes on the project. So, and like Paws in the Mint kind of helped with, getting some frogs sold on the secondary, but also more so like we were able to like get in touch with our game developer, and we have a new website coming out hopefully by tomorrow,
Oh wow.
and getting our coin animated and just stuff like that. Like stuff we had to kind of like we paused it too so we could actually like work on this stuff and then kind of like let some more anticipation build.
Nice.
And it's been successful. Like our Discord, it's approximately doubled in size since the pause, and it's continuing to grow. So that's nice. Like the bigger the community, the better. But our biggest thing is organic community because, I mean, not to throw shade or anything, but you see a lot of these projects with like crazy overly inflated numbers, and then it comes mint day and it shows. And we didn't want to be uh, overly inflated like with fake numbers, obviously. So organic growth has been a big part of this.
Yeah, I mean, like that's doubling size in that period of time is pretty commendable for a project that's launched and minted and everything like that. That's incredibly good growth actually.
thank you.
So is there going to be any exclusive traits at all, or like
Yeah, yeah. So our one of ones will pay out 1,000 ADA like on spot just for minting it if you pull a 101. So there'll be
damn.
that, and then
As far as like exclusive traits though, I I think there might be like two or three traits that haven't been minted in the day shift yet, but for the most part, it's still the same 418 traits or whatever we have
Right.
that'll be on here.
I mean,
But
how
there's still the highly coveted golden dart. There's still 12 of those left in the mentor.
Yeah.
yeah, those are a community favorite. Those they anytime anybody's listed them on secondary, they're gone in approximately a day, and they list them for a pretty penny.
So, how long did the art process take you? Because, I mean, I know you guys are tattooists and, it's what you do, but there's a lot of work that's gone into these. Like, a
I
lot of
think
Yeah,
work.
about 2 months.
yeah. But I mean, we have a team of 5 artists,
Yeah.
and so uh, we divvied up the workload quite a bit. But while we were doing that, we started with the
Basically.
space pugs as well. So we were actually doing two projects at the same time.
Damn.
Discord video.
So, how did you guys go about the tech side of it all? Because obviously, it's the art is very important and everything like that, but you do need to get the tech people on board with it as well.
So I had met Mike. He goes by Ultimate Warrior. You probably know who he is, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So I had met Mike through Boss Cat, and we had been talking to a couple of people for minting, and we looked at NFT Maker, and looked at all these places, and he had started talking to me about his project and like talking about doing the art and stuff. And he hooked us up with Tyler, which is Tigerpool, who is does minting for a lot of stuff and works with block owls and all that good jazz. And it's basically, I mean, it's kind of like a blessing, man, because he's been awesome. Like anything we need, and you see all these bigger projects that do have issues with like the tech side. Turn your phone off. Sorry. But yeah, Tyler handles like most of that stuff. We had a guy that built our website who, for whatever reason, wanted to leave the team before we ever really got the ball off the ground. That's why we're redoing our website. But we're working with Ada Anvil, if you know who those guys are.
I don't know those guys. I don't think
They do. They help a lot of projects out, but I think the Cheeky Units is part of them, and
cheeky
Pneumonia.
units or cheeky hunts.
Hunts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're great. Those guys, they're absolutely great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so during the lunch break, we brought Darren D on as another partner, and through him, we've met a lot of other people that are helping with the tech side of it. So we're getting involved with some game developers. We got someone to redo our website. We've got the coins and the tech side of the native token and how to get that to where we're able to distribute. So, which is way far beyond my comprehension, but
yeah, we're artists mostly. Like I understand some of the tech stuff, but like we definitely needed help with that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, understanding it is one thing, and being able to actually do anything with it is another as well. So, as I get constantly reminded every day.
right.
So, why frogs?
I personally, I love tattooing frogs, and is one of my favorite things to tattoo. Like we did kick around a lot of stuff. Like I think goats was in the lead for a little bit, and we were like
turtles.
we were like, no, we're gonna do frogs.
Oh yeah.
So it just kind of came to us. I always tell people it's because Obi sounds like a frog. But
So, you mentioned a couple of times game coming.
Yeah, so our game is currently it's being developed by our developers, and it will be we don't have a time frame yet, but it's being worked on. We're trying to get all the logistics and stuff banged out. We've already got some of the art drawn up for it. It's got to get rendered and whatnot, but
yeah, we're hoping to have like not so much a demo, but maybe like just like a 10-second clip of how the game will be within like a month or two. But if we can get all of it to work the way we want to, it's going to be pretty cool, pretty huge. Because
So,
eventually we want to be able to bring in other projects that want to be like in the game too.
nice. So, what kind of game is it going to be? Is it going to be like a movement game, or is it
It's going to be what we're trying to build is a like a tactical style RPG, but like no story mode. Just what we want to do is we want to have basically think of like a 3D chessboard, and 5-on-5, and we'll have NFTs for our characters, the weapons, their armor, all that, and we want to have tournaments with it. So in other words, what we're going to try to do is you have say if you think about like building a deck for like Magic or something, it's kind of like the same principle, but you'll have 60 NFTs in your Nami wallet, and when you sign into the game, your NFTs will be what you'll be able to use in the game.
Okay.
So, but yeah, and our end goal is we want to get other projects into the game too. So it's not just frogs fighting frogs. We want to have frogs fighting monkeys and dogs and cats, and frogs teaming up with monkeys and all that good jazz.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. I mean, it's going to be a lot of work with all the different metadata and everything like that. I'm sure. Like, it's going to be some.
Yeah, have you heard of Cardano Tales?
No.
So I can't remember his name, but he's making a game. It's kind of like Zelda or like Final Fantasy too, but basically I think the dude's a genius, but he's figured out a way to already do that. So he's got a demo,
Oh,
and you can go and you can like their NFTs are real cheap. They're like 8 to 10 ADA, and you can go and buy like your weapons and your characters or whatever. And you go to his website, the Cardano Tales website, and you just link your Nami wallet, and the stuff that you've bought you can actually use in the demo.
that's pretty sweet. So I'm just finding a link up
But yeah,
for.
you should go check it out because he's on to something over there.
Yeah, well, I've put the page up on YouTube Crowd just so they can have a quick look. But yeah,
But yeah, you can and you can look at any like tactical style RPG, whether it's Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre or some of the new ones like what's that game? Triangle Strategy is the new one. That's
Stratago.
It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same principle. So like we want to have it to where like we want it to be like in the end where it's not like who can afford like the best NFTs. We want to have it to like where there's strategy into it too, where like
yeah.
anyone can win.
So is it going to be like an auto battler then, or is it going to
Say again?
be more like an auto battler then, like
It's
team fight
it'll be a
tactics
turn.
or uh,
It'll be a,
It'll be turn based. It'll be the ultimate goal is to be able to like I have my NFTs against your NFTs and wherever you're at or whoever anyone's at in the world. So like I can play, and we'll have it. That's kind of how we want to where we're wanting to go with our coin. Like there's going to be other stuff for the coin, obviously, but kind of like how the end goal would be to be kind of how like the casinos on ETH work. We'll have like a buy-in, but you got to buy in with the token, and then the winner of the tournament gets an NFT that we promise to buy. So like let's say, for lack of a better word, we have a 10,000 ADA tournament, right? Well, you get an NFT that we promise to buy for 10,000 if you win.
seems reasonable. I mean, like it's it's a pretty fun way of doing it. I'm sure.
Just trying to do
I'm
stuff
sure.
different but the same.
Like
Yes.
it does skirt around some legal requirements quite nicely.
That's yeah,
Absolutely.
we're tattoo artists, man. We're pirates.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly not going to be giving out legal advice here or anything like that. So don't take me saying as it's a go as being anything. Anything
No,
like
yeah, I
that.
know.
But
I used that whatever that crypto tax service is for this last year, and it saved me a lot of time. So
so
you just link
yeah,
up your.
I mean, so how has the falling price of ADA affected you over the duration of the project? Has it changed any of the decisions that you've made, or has it made you a bit more aware of watching where the pennies go and stuff? Because what was in fiat $1,000 a
Only for
couple of
our new
months
mint.
ago is like not so much now.
yeah, our biggest concern was the mint, the night shift mint, and we didn't know what we should, charge for the mint pricing or whatever. So we took it to a vote to our community, and the community voted. So that's how we got our
Mint price.
mint price.
Yeah, it's funny because our mint, the new mint price is, I mean, fiat wise, it's cheaper than the original.
Yeah,
It's more ADA, but
yeah.
it's actually cheaper than the first mint.
But not by a lot. I mean, it's pretty close. So
I'm a big believer, like me personally, uh, and like just like coming from like mostly messing with stocks and stuff for so long. I'm a big believer in like the store of value of NFTs, kind of.
Yeah,
So I mean, like you see, like floors go down whenever the price of ADA changes, and vice versa. So that's kind of how I look at it. Like if you look at like Space Buds, they had a $4,000, $4,500 floor when ADA was up well over $1, and now they're on a $6,000 floor, but ADA's down. So that's kind of how I think I think that's why I think sometimes like if you do have like the more like safer NFTs, whether no matter what blockchain it is, it's easier to not lose money when the markets change a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, my strategy has basically been to lock up pretty much everything at the minute, and I'm kind of like in a position where I need to sell before I buy, and there's not really anything I want to sell at the minute.
Yeah,
Honestly,
same. That's
like
how I am.
it's like, I'd rather just hold on and wait for the market to turn in 3 or 6 months or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, it's a fun one because obviously when you have development costs and ongoing costs like
Yeah, and it's funny, man. Like we get hit up for art and stuff from people, and like it's weird that I don't know. It's weird seeing both blockchains, the sides of both blockchains, because like on Cardano, like everyone's kind of like I don't know, more frugal for sure.
yeah.
Like on Ethereum, someone will be like, "We'll give you $100,000 to make art." You know what I mean? And on Cardano, they'll be like, "We'll give you a percentage of the mint." You know what I mean? There's never any like, "We'll give you X amount of money."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's an interesting one because I think in a lot of the ways I prefer the Cardano communities.
I do
But
too.
but by the same sense, if we do explode in the way that everybody always says that we will, and we hope that we do, and everybody wants to make their piece of the pie, but by doing that we lose what we have.
Yeah,
If like we've got 20,000 people in our Discord, 21,000 people on our Discord right now. Like if all of a sudden we've got 200,000 people flooding in, which is quite realistic if what people say they want to happen, what will happen actually happens. We could easily see 150, 200,000 people flooding into the market. That's you know you talk about growing
yeah,
communities. That's critical mass for overheating there.
Yeah, so my personal thoughts on like the infiltration of the market and whatnot is I believe that so Cardano and Ethereum obviously they're two separate price points. And I personally believe that Cardano it's going to continue to grow exponentially due to the fact that NFTs they're spreading around the world every day. It's like people talk about them, and so the new coming audience I feel as if is going to side more with the Cardano Solana area just for the simpler fact that it's a cheaper entry fee
Yeah,
and not everybody has like crazy Ethereum money to go spend 10,000 on a project or not 10,000 but X amount, whereas you could go to Cardano and do it. You minimize your risk to say the
yeah,
least.
yeah. When I first started buying Ethereum stuff, like just to buy, just with like the gas fee and the price of the actual NFT and stuff, like you were spending at least like two on a good day. You were spending $200 just to buy an NFT, just with all the fees and stuff. And then if you want to sell it, same thing. Plus whatever market fee you got to
yeah,
tack onto it too. I feel like I feel like right now the way it is until there is like a critical mass thing like you were talking about. I think right now like what might be happening is people are like learning how to do and flip NFTs on Cardano because it's so much cheaper. Like
yeah,
that's like my
yeah,
like it's a double edged sword. Like I think it's a good thing because like I said, like I lost my ass on Ethereum, but now that like I know how to do NFTs, like I could probably go make decent money every week on Ethereum. And like I think my whole thing is like I kind of think a little bit differently about stuff. Like I'm getting tired of like talking about like gas fee stuff because if you're good at flipping NFTs, like if you're on Ethereum and you're consistently making $5,000 to $10,000 a week, Cardano not having gas fees doesn't matter in my opinion because you're going to come over here and you're going to make a couple $100, but you're not going to pay gas. Like the trade off isn't worth it.
yeah.
And like
Um,
I learned that early. I learned that early on, like trying to buy Beeple's artwork because the gas fees get crazy when there's those huge drops. But like if and it proved my point even further with the Bored Ape land mint not too long ago. Like if you know you're going to make X amount of dollars, the gas fee really doesn't matter.
yeah. I
So I
mean,
think that like we need a better selling point for Cardano than like the cheap dust fees or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we had a discussion on the server a few days ago actually, and I think one of the things that we all agreed upon was that the ETH people will come when there's the money to be made, and at the minute there
Right.
isn't. So what we would need to attract the ETH crowd is a series of mints with mint prices above $1,000 US.
And
Was it?
that's exactly what I've been saying. So like me and Jeff will talk about this and he'll be like, so we just need to like try to get people to list for hire. And it's like, yes, kind of, but we need
Yeah,
every single project to do it in unison.
yeah,
But then that defeats the whole purpose of like the great entry point for people getting into
yeah,
Cardano.
But see that they're starting to do it. I think Eco Nikos and Cornucopia is, they're crazy high mint prices. And then this Mallard order, if you've heard anything, they're charging
It's like 1,600 for an invitation.
just for an invitation to their Discord. So it's coming. I think it's coming. You know, I think there's a lot of people feel that it is coming. So
yeah. I mean, we're seeing more and more of the features that are available in other chains becoming available here, like the Aeronauts reveal style mint and everything like that as well, which went pretty
Yeah,
smoothly for the first time.
I don't want to say too much, but after our night shift mint's done, like our next like little few projects that we're going to be doing, like leading up to the game, what Ada Anvil is building for us is going to be really cool, and it's going to be some stuff that I don't think a lot of people have like, as far as like minting and stuff goes, how the stuff that they're capable of doing, and so it's just be on the lookout for that too.
yeah, it's game changing for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for
For
any sneak peeks on what we might be able to expect from that, actually.
right.
You see, if I leave silence there just long enough, I might get something.
uh, yeah.
No, well played, well played. I will move on. Um, yeah, I mean, so what kind of thought process went in behind the selection of the traits? Because I mean, obviously,
It's
like with the amount of traits that you have, that's a lot to fit in, and they all look outstandingly distinctive and have their own style. But
Some of them were staples of all NFT projects. We would definitely like. I'm big on like even like designing tattoos, like things that you see in certain tattoos, like like a Sailor Jerry or a traditional style tattoo has to have certain elements to it. So like we paid homage to that with other NFT projects. Like obviously the big one that jumps out is the 3D glasses. Like almost every NFT project has 3D glasses. Some of them were pop culture stuff that we like.
yeah.
Like the Big Lebowski sweater. Like we all love the Big Lebowski and quote it all the time.
And the BC goggles, that's kind of a nod to the Trailer Park Boys. And we have the cosplayer, And the one cool thing about doing this project with these guys here at the shop is our personalities came out in our individual traits that we designed. And so we don't have just one person throwing together a bunch of traits. We have all our personalities making these frogs really unique.
Yeah, like if you look at the jackets, like the swag jacket or whatever it's called, and the koi jacket, like Cam really wears shit like that. So like it's funny to us every time we see one of those frogs because he wears like he's like a fashion guy, so he has like a lot of stuff like that.
And then like if you look at like the what's it called, the punk rock jacket, that one that's all the bands that like a lot of these guys listen to. Like I'm in a Rancid shirt right now.
But we changed the names of the bands.
Yeah. Copyright.
Yeah, so it does. It shows our individual personalities, I think, and little nuances like that, I think really make our project pretty cool. It's not just, standard cookie cutter stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you've all got your own individual styles that kind of adds to the diversity of the traits and like the look of the different traits.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where sometimes you can have a group of artists and they're not all on the same page, whereas you guys are obviously all on the same page, and that really shows in that even though there's such a broad range of traits, like they all fit and they all look pretty awesome.
Yeah, and us working, our day jobs all being at the same place, we get to
Yeah,
draw next to each other, so it helps.
And there's a lot of times, when I would throw out a design, and Obi would take it and say, "Oh, well, let me do this to it," and some of the designs are like that. They're even collabs within the collab, I guess
Yeah,
you would say.
we have probably 10 traits that we couldn't make work that we designed too.
And there's probably hundreds of traits that after we minted, we thought, "Oh, we should have done one like this," we should have done one like that. And man, that if we could do it again, I mean, we would probably have 600 traits at least.
But it's all good though, because the creativity flow is not stopping. It's just going to continue to flow into the forklift, the game, etc. So that's definitely a big. I don't to say the. I don't understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say the creativity flow is not going to stop at the first 10,000 men.
Yeah, and we were unbound by restrictions. Like when we did the space pugs, they had a list of traits that they wanted, and with the Frog Factory, it was freely done. Like, I mean, cool. What do you got today? Oh, that's rad. That sucks. That's rad. So, you know what I mean? Some things worked, some things didn't, but there were no limits to the creativity we were allowed to do.
Yeah, I mean, like the freedom that you've all displayed is quite astounding, to be honest. Like,
Yeah, we definitely didn't want it to look like everything else either. That was like our biggest thing, and I think that's one of the reasons why like some of the frogs do look so gnarly. Is like I mean, like obviously we haven't seen every single project that exists, but we wanted to make something that wasn't like anything we had seen for sure.
Yep.
And some people hate it. Like some people, like I was in I was in DJ Travis's Discord, and like I guess the dude didn't know that I was part of Frog Factory, and he was like, "That's the dumbest looking art I've ever seen," or something. And it made me laugh because I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what we want."
Yeah, like we do a lot of things that are playful jokes. Like even our forklifts, like that all kind of started as kind of like a troll to all the other 3-part vehicles. Like everybody's doing more serious things like rocket ships or motorcycles or snowmobiles. We're gonna do forklifts.
And it kind of feeds into the Frog Factory theme,
Yeah.
with the.
But then even that snowballed into like this crazy thing to where now we're giving away a space bud. Like
Yeah, we're having payloads. That's
like it started out as like, oh, we're gonna make fun of these guys, but now we're like, oh shit, we gotta be like make it cool and make it to where people actually get stuff. And
yeah. We don't put anything out that we wouldn't mint personally ourselves to like we want to think like if we were not part like a part of the project, if we were just looking into it like it would be awesome if you want a space bud. So it's like you give that to the community. I mean, that's the community is what it's all about at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, and you guys have got a consistently strong and growing community. It's all coming together rather nicely. It has to be said. So, do you guys design all this like and draw it all in digitally, or do you make physical copies, or how do you guys go about that process?
the base frog was drawn like on paper and pencil, and then after we got that dialed in, we did a shadow layer like on Procreate. So that was like probably that in itself probably took like a week just to get like the base layer, and kind of the same thing with like the pugs too. As soon as you get like the base layer done, then you can pretty much do it all on like either like Adobe Illustrator or Procreate. And we all use Procreate for tattooing, so that was like the logical step to do.
Okay, so it's. I mean, I don't know much about tattooing and stuff myself. I have to admit. So do you guys do digital mock-ups for like most of your tattoos first and do it that way, or that's
Yes.
how you got and that's how you got the
Yeah,
skills to be able to transfer that
it's
into
made
this.
it's made tattooing so like I never had an iPad till probably like 3 years ago, and before that, yeah, it's everything was drawn with a, you draw a sketch or you trace something with a light table and all this other stuff. But like the iPad and Procreate, I always tell people, it's basically like a $1,000 tracing table, but like it makes stuff. It's so much more concise and faster to work like that.
Yeah, because I mean, like it's I as a non-artist, like the shading and some of the effects that you've got coming through is it's amazing.
Yeah, that's what my big gripe on a lot of projects are is like all you guys have to do is make a drop shadow and every NFT project will look fucking twice as good.
So
Yeah, shadows make it.
is there
I'm
room in
sorry,
the
Shay.
yeah, I was going to say, is there room in the future for a subject other than frogs, or is it going to be frogs, frogs all the way?
I mean, right now we're focused on the frogs because, I mean, that's kind of what we're immersed in. But man, there's been talk about doing other projects. Once Frog Factory's established, and we want to branch off, and we've got the forklift certifications where people can mint all our pro. If you get one of those, you can mint all our projects. On the whitelist for life. So, I mean, it just we're kind of just rolling with the flow right now, and we're going to find out how far we can take the Frog Factory.
Yeah.
And once we hit our end game goal with the game, who knows, we might start.
And, yeah, everything is so new. Like that's the thing about this, and what's cool and exciting about it is like even Space Buds, like the first project on Cardano, like in like terms of time, like it's everything is still so new, you know.
Yeah.
So like where any of this can go is still like limitless right now. So
Yeah, eyes are set on nothing but the moon, and we won't stop till we get there.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
sounds like you've got a lot of stuff coming together anyway, like with the game and everything else. Like,
right.
um,
It's
is there going to be any chance of winning physical copies in the future?
Yes.
Oh yeah, tell them about the paintings.
yeah. So
Oh,
what we're gonna do? So me and Obi and Waylon are. We're pretty accomplished oil painters. Like I went to college for art and studio painting and stuff like that. So and when we go to make the NFTs for the game, so there's going to be different classes of fighters, like a knight, a magician, a ninja, all that good stuff. We're going to make 15 original oil paintings that are going to be they'll be like the elite characters of the NFT drop, but the physical copies, the physical actual oil paintings, we'll probably like raffle off or sell or do something with them.
yeah. And you were saying about the one of ones left to mint. Can you give us a bit of a hint as to what they might look like or what traits they have?
Chrome.
So,
Chrome will take you home.
yeah, I mean, there's that. Yeah, again, the one of ones especially really reflect our personalities because
We each did one.
we
Yeah.
each did one,
Nice.
and we got to throw them in the mint.
So mine and Jeff's are the ones that are still left to mint. Unless I'm working on a third one. I got to get it to the minter probably by tomorrow at the
You see,
latest.
I'm
That's
furiously
it.
trying to go through your Discord to find pictures of these here.
So Adam Jukes minted one.
You can find them in the sneak peeks.
Oh, are those the ones? Oh, ah, right. Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I've been throwing them on YouTube for the last however long. But yeah, so you all did one each then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the only reason I was wanting to do one more is just so that way, there was three minted in the first 5,000 and be an equal number minted in the second. And I mean, like we give like Jeff was saying, we give 1,000 ADA away on the spot when someone mints one. So
So how will the extra one be made? Will that be like a collaboration of all of you, or will it be one person taking the crown of the extra one?
It'll be me. It'll be Wayne.
It'll be me.
Well,
Get it
yeah,
done.
and that's a lot because everybody else is working on some of the other stuff.
Yeah, Jeff's working on video game stuff right now. So
Yeah, and Obi's working on the forklifts. So
Forklifts.
I mean,
That's not a word you expect to hear as associated with this.
why it's so funny to me.
So I think I've touched on most of the major things so far. Is there anything that I've somehow missed that you wanted to bring up?
I can't think of
We
anything.
plan on having a merch store. It'll be on our website. Making like at least hoodies and shirts at the least. Trying to make maybe some other cool stuff, beanies. I don't know.
Zip up hoodies are that's something that we are really trying to get out there.
Yeah, you'll have to have a frog. You'll have to sign in with your wallet to even enter the store. So
Ah, damn it. Damn it. I was just
And then
like,
we-
yeah, count me in for a hoodie for like the kids and stuff. And then you go and said that. It's like, ah. What is the
And we-
floor price
we-
on frogs at the minute? Let's
The
have a
floors
look.
aren't
I
good.
mean, I'm on tools with it, so there we go. Take off that filter. 4080A. So, well, there's one at 4080A, and then it's a nice selection at 4580A going up, basically. Some really nice ones, actually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we've stayed pretty consistent holding our floor. 40 to 68 is kind of what we tend to hover at. And we understand like people are going to list a floor for ADA for other mints, etc. Like especially with these Econicos and cornucopias coming up with such a high mint price, like everybody was trying to get ADA for that. So like that definitely reflects on the floor as well.
yeah, and that also goes like it's weird like because usually whenever the price of a crypto goes down, the NFT sales and everything go up. But it's been weird with this like market that it's kind of they've both been down.
Yeah, I mean, like, cornucopia is soaking up so much of the market right now.
Yeah,
I mean, they were at like 30% of all market volume like last week or something. It's kind
yeah.
of
And we
ridiculous.
eventually want to get our game into like once the game's done and working and everything like whatever we do want to be a part of someone else's metaverse. We don't have any. At least me personally, I don't have any sights on doing land or a metaverse or anything like that for Frog Factory. But if there is like a thriving metaverse that wants to utilize our game, like we might look into like future partnerships with that too.
And we've said from the beginning, and if Wayman here, he owns a bunch of the Boss Planet,
Yeah, I have a lot
property.
of Boss Cat stuff. I mean, ideally, our game isn't going to look like Minecraft or voxel style, but I mean, if it's something that it's beneficial for both of us, then maybe we'll go that route. But I don't know. I do have 3 estates and a bunch of cats and rockets.
So, have you got any more collabs coming up in the future that you can talk about, or?
None that I can say. There was going to be a pretty cool announcement today, but I think it's getting pushed back till Friday, and it's not just us. It's a lot of projects, so it'll be pretty cool.
That'll be very very exciting for us. These aren't really collabs, but some like upcoming things today. We're gonna go talk with Block is Hot. We got our AMA after our Dangerous Darts Day that'll all be hosted live. So those aren't really collabs, but definitely some interactive things that the community can be a part of.
And we have our Dangerous Darts game today. We've moved our Dangerous Darts to Mondays. So
Just because the shop
Dangerous
closed
Darts?
on Monday.
yeah, the Dangerous Darts is kind of the foundation of the
Frog Factory family. Dangerous Darts. It's a trait based game that's paying out no less than 1,000 Cardano every week to our holders. So pretty much what we do is every week we go on live stream. Before this, we put 20 traits up for vote in our Discord. the top 10 with the most votes get printed off onto a frog and put onto a dartboard. And then we got Cam, our dart thrower. He's going to throw a dart at it. And whichever trait that is hit by the dart via the Scrooge rule, it has to hit the actual frog. That trait will pay out X amount of ADA divided by the amount of wallets submitted.
And he throws from
wow.
40 feet back.
Yeah.
Oh, is this all like live streamed and everything?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's all
Oh,
YouTube.
amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we moved it to Mondays because we used to do it every Wednesday, but like there's people coming in and out of the shop and there's darts flying from 50 feet away. So we moved it to the day that the shop was closed.
Oh, wow. So what time does that go on?
We try to do it at 5. It should be more consistently at 5 now. It's on Monday too because when it was on Wednesdays, like we'd be tattooing and we'd have to like stop tattooing or schedule around dangerous darts. So like sometimes it would be at 6 o'clock, But now that it's on Monday, it should be consistently at 5 o'clock every week.
So we'll start our live feed in 2 hours, and then we have a little AMA before while we're setting up, and then
After will be our big AMA.
then we have Cam throws the dart, and then everybody rushes to the secondaries to scoop up whatever the winning trade is, and
So,
it's a lot of fun.
just so everybody knows, that's 2200 UTC by the sound of it. So you can stick that one in your diaries because, quite frankly, I will be. Like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it is. It's a lot of fun.
And there's always some there's nice playful jokes going around. Like we got people that send Cam dart throwing techniques and stuff.
Yeah, that's going back to like the cool community. Like we have a guy in our Discord. His name is Scrooge. He's really
Blunt.
opinion. He voices his opinion a lot. And we had one week where a dart hit the piece of paper that the frog was on, but it didn't actually hit the frog. But we let that frog win anyway. So that's what he was talking about with the Scrooge rule: is it has to hit the frog.
Not the frog paper, but the actual frog.
Yeah.
And we're like the darts. We constantly evolve. This week we're on the 20 traits that we posted in the Discord for them to vote on. We're going to take the one with the least amount of votes, and we announced this before we posted on there, so we can get a rarer trait on the board, which would be in turn a higher payout. If it hits that. So.
Nice. Like,
So we let.
Oh, go on.
Oh, we let the community. We've let the community make a lot of the major, evolutions, I would say, to our project, and we always take their input and try to implement what we can, and I think that's one thing that keeps our community strong. So
We actually listen to the suggestions. Everybody has suggestion channels, but you don't really see those suggestions put into use. Not to throw shade again, but Frog Factory puts the suggestions to use.
Yeah, and even when it makes other people in the community mad.
Yeah,
Some
and
people be
it's
like,
always
"Why
good
don't
to
you
give
listen to
the
us and do it?
community
It's not
credit
the
for those ideas as well.
yeah, that's why we named it the Scrooge Rule. So for here on out, he'll be part of Frog Factory lore forever. So.
I mean, I had a quick look through your social media stuff earlier, and I noticed that you got a TikTok, and it had various different promos for frogs on there. Please start putting the throwing on there as well, because that'll do wonders.
Yeah,
I'm not a TikTok fan, but it's exactly the sort of thing that'll go down a treat there.
There'll be one poster by the end of today. Now that you said that.
Yeah. But yeah, so what I hadn't actually had a chance to mention yet, so I've enjoyed the conversation so much. If anyone's got any questions about anything that we may have missed or that you may have missed and want to catch up with, feel free to fire them into NFT chat. Or if you promise not to be...
Yeah, that's it.
to me, we can give voice if that's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit us with all the questions. We're more than happy to answer all of them. That's what it's all about. So yeah, if you guys got any questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer them.
First one up is what is the golden dart?
So what the golden dart is it's a winning, like you're gonna win on every dangerous dart. You're gonna win at least one submission, and it's also a 2x multiplier for your other traits.
So the golden dart is every trait. So it doesn't matter what the dart hits, the golden dart automatically wins a share of the 1,000 ADA.
Oh.
So if you own a golden dart, which, like I say, those are highly coveted. Those, people. There's been some people that have made quite a bit just for owning, a dangerous dart, and they
the flip value, the last one that sold, I believe, was for 1,690 ADA, and it sold in the span of a day. So, like, these are very highly coveted traits.
Yeah, I mean they're coming with passive income basically. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't really call it passive income because there's still an element of luck.
Yeah.
It's all semantics. If you do have a golden dart, yeah, it becomes passive income because you don't have you get ADA every week. Other than that, you have to have a winning trait to claim anything.
And we always hope to play for bigger pots as well. After night shift, more ADA is allocated, but we will never play for less than 1,000. So. We've had people win multiple times, like 200 ADA in a week just off of dangerous darts. It's definitely a very valuable tool for the community to earn some ADA for just holding the project. It's like our theory is the more we give back to the community, the more the community is gonna like support the project. So we wouldn't have anything about Frog Factory without the community. So it really is their project at the end of the day, and that's why we like to give back as much as possible.
But yeah, back to what you're asking, the golden dart, it's a mouth trait. It's a dart in the mouth, and it's golden. So
yeah, I mean that should describe it fairly well, you'd think.
Yeah, and all this stuff is in our white paper, which you can find in our Discord. So it covers everything in greater detail. The only thing that it hasn't covered, because this was evolved after the white paper was written, is the payloads for the forklifts. And that's a whole other element to the project that we've added since the white paper.
So I'm assuming there's probably two different aspects to this question, but is it best to have frogs with many traits rather than a few rare traits? And I would guess
Both.
that's probably from and like from a game balance view as well. Like are frogs with fewer traits going to be at any disadvantage in the game, or is there any like balancing to make it so that's not so much the case?
There's a lot of different thoughts to this, and there's a lot of strategy that comes into play with the dangerous darts. It's a cool element, but for the most part, it seems like a lot of the people, the whales that are in our Discord, are diversifying with as many traits as they can get. But we did have a guy corner the market and bought up as many of one single trait that he could get, and that ended up winning 1 week, and he had a pretty nice payday on that. So again, it just depends on how you want to play the game. There's a lot of different ways to play.
You go for quantity or rarity. It is a matter of preference at the end of the day.
And I'll put it this way: we've got Goma, who's listening right now, has I think pushing 300 frogs and has yet to meet all the traits, or has yet to collect all the traits. So that just shows.
That's an expensive day. That's an expensive day out, that one.
Yeah.
So you were saying that you're hoping to have a kind of demo coming up in, was it 2-3 months, right?
Yeah, we want to at least, if not a super simple demo, we at least want to have like a video that shows kind of how it's going to work, just so people can get an idea.
But maybe people shouldn't expect actual gameplay footage, for instance.
No, I mean, I don't want to speak to the capabilities of our developers. Maybe, I mean, we everything they've done so far has like outweighed our expectations. So this could be the same. But honestly, I've never developed a video game, so I'm kind of like what
Yeah.
they tell me, you know.
I mean, there's a general rule in game development that it's going to take you 3 times longer and it's going to cost you 5 times as much.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like that it will swallow as much money, time, and hours as you want to throw at it and still ask you for more.
Yep. Um, I actually had a quick question I was going to ask you. So our generator, what we use to actually like generate our stuff, it has. I mean, I can kind of say this now since Space Pugs is all the way minted out because they spit us out like a rarity sheet, right?
Right.
Well, I noticed that CNFT Tools takes into account trait count as a metric for ranking the rarity. Is that
Um,
like a thing? Is
it's
that like a thing that
it's
you do for?
it's. I mean, stuff like that. We it it's an option. It's not always counted in a rarity calculation, and that will depend on the project's wishes.
Right. I
Um,
prefer it like that. I think that's how I set it up. That's why so like obviously when we generated all 10,000 of the frogs, we
yeah,
got a ranking list
yeah,
which I personally like it whenever because you asked about the number of traits. I personally like projects where the less traits the rarer it is.
yeah. I
So
understand
I think
it's something. I mean, like generally, most projects just give us the data and we run it, and they're fine with whatever it spits out.
yeah.
And
Which
that's
turns
generally
out,
the preferable way of doing it. But every now and again, for project vision and stuff like that, it might be that they ask us to nudge it or change the balancing between the different numbers of traits a little bit.
I totally prefer the way it's set up right now. Like that's I've like I just said I'm a big fan of like the lower number traits being the more rare because to me that makes sense to me because in my mind like it went through the generator 8 times and the generator missed it 5 times
Yeah,
for it to get this few traits. So like that's more of an anomaly to me. So I feel like the less traits should be the more rare ones.
I mean
Absolutely.
it's. I mean I'm not deep into this side of the business. I don't have the technical knowledge to have a big in depth conversation about it.
Right.
But it's one of those things that quickly gets into what's a combination as opposed to a rarity. Because
Mhm.
it's the same sort of thing as if you've got a monkey hat, you've got a monkey face, you've got a monkey tail or whatever, and then hitting all those three traits.
Mhm.
And often no trait is it might be a 50% chance of a no trait. So on each individual slot, as it were, it's a 50% chance, and rarity doesn't calculate the chance of having those individual slots taken up by those individual traits.
Exactly. Because like our generator just it works off of a score. So a 3 trait frog has a very low score, which gives it a very low ranking.
Yeah,
But back to what you were saying, what you were asking earlier, if the more traits on the frogs are better, it turns out that the three trait frogs are some of the rarest frogs out there. So, and having a rare frog, will get you more tokens.
Yeah,
well, this is the thing. I
And
mean,
but
there's
also
this is what I was saying about the balancing about the with the three trait frogs getting like a booster to their ability.
right as far as the game goes.
Yeah,
Yeah, what we had planned on doing to kind of integrate OG frogs with the game is certain traits will be like minor bonuses in the game. So like for instance, if you have like a night frog and you have an OG frog with a helmet or a Viking helmet or whatever, it might be like a +1 defense or something. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
there will always be ways for the OG frogs to be relevant and like be probably like the foundation of our project.
Yeah, I mean, like game balancing is something that will never end. That's for sure.
Yeah.
especially
But
when you
also,
especially when you start in adding other projects as well.
I had to step out for a second, so I don't know if it was talked about. But also, we have a multiplier card thing that we're working on too. So like rank will come into a factor, and so will traits. So like
Okay.
we tend to not when we pick the traits for dangerous starts, we tend to not pick nose traits or background traits for the simple fact that there's so many of each one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So like let's say like once we get all 10,000 minted and we picked a nose trait, there could potentially be 2,000 of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For one, that would take forever to pay out, and for two, like it would be a very low payout. But secondly, so what we were going to do is like once we do this card game, like say your frog with the leather jacket wins, and your frog is also has like a clown nose. Well, if you have this card that's a multiplier for that, then you win like 5x or 3x or whatever the your payout for that frog is.
And is that deducted?
Say
So
again.
how is that? How does that work? So like, because obviously the money is divided between everybody that's got that trait.
So in other
So
words, but they would have to have the card too. So in other words, after we do the cards and we mint those out. So basically, for simplicity's sake, let's say there's $1,000 ADA pot and there's 200 leather jackets. So that would be 5 ADA for each frog with a leather jacket you had, right?
yeah,
But let's say you had a leather jacket frog that was ranked in the top 1,000, and you had the card that says, if your frog wins and he's ranked in the top 1,000, it's a 10x. So then it goes from being worth 5 ADA to being worth 50 ADA for that one frog.
And then ultimately the total payout, say if that was the only card that was played, would be 1,050 ADA. So
Yeah.
we would
right. Yeah. That's what I meant. That's prizes added on top of the pool as opposed to coming out of the
Yeah.
pool and everyone else getting like
You're,
4 ADA instead of
basically all
5.
multipliers. So like, like the more rare the chance of winning it is, there'll probably be like the bigger multiplier. So in other words, let's say like a 3 trait frog. A 3 trait frog only has a background, a skin, and one other trait. So let's say yellow whatever skin wins, but it's on a 3 trait frog, and you have like a multiplier card that's like a 10x. Because I mean, obviously that would be pretty rare for that to hit.
Yeah. Like that's not guaranteed to hit in the next 5 years. That kind of combination.
Well, what we initially set out to do was we were taking like 2/3 of our mint for dangerous darts, so that way we could guarantee that we could play it for 2 years.
Nice.
But what we're gonna do once the mint is all sold out is once a trait wins, it won't go back up until we cycle through all the traits.
Okay, that's cool. I mean
So in other words, like
that's an opportunity for continual sniping to go involved to make sure that you've got
yeah,
the traits that haven't been drawn yet.
and sometimes it's there's a lot I came up with this game for like a lot of strategy to be involved. So like say you're someone like Goma that has, I think it was like last week or the week before, he had like 13 frogs that had this trait that won. All right. And the payout, let's say the payout was like 11 per frog, 11 ADA per frog. Well, he can collect all of his winnings or whatever, or he might collect his winnings on 10 of those frogs and sell 3 of them because someone knows that they will get a little bit of ADA back that week for buying that frog, but they also have the other traits that frog has for future winning.
Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of like, when we came up with the idea of this game, I wanted something that would like incentivize like buying frogs, holding frogs, and selling frogs. Because you need the life of all 3 to sustain a project.
Yeah.
And we do other things too. Like there was one week where whoever like we've given away a lot of ADA. We've given away a lot of NFTs too. We've given away a boss cat.
some Chocom.
We've given away Yetis. So like one week we gave away a Yeti away, and all you had to do was have the most of whoever had the most of that winning frog. So in other words, like or no, it was a Happy Hopper. That's what it was. The Yetis were for something else, but it was
The Yetis was if you had a winning frog for that week that we were giving away the Yeti, we put your name on the spinning wheel and someone won it. I can't remember who won So,
But like sometimes it's just as simple as like whoever has the most of this trait. So like if we would have been giving away NFT the week that Goma had 13, he would have automatically won that bonus NFT too.
Nice.
So
Very
like
nice.
we're trying to think of ways just to like just make it cool, make it fun, and like and it's like
and rewarding.
and like if you look at ratios, and that's I know we keep saying we're not trying to throw shade at stuff, but like if you look at ratios of what we've given away to like what we've made, like I can honestly say we've probably given away more than anyone else based off of what we've actually made.
So go on then, give us the figure of what you expect to spend on dangerous darts over the next 2 years.
Over the next 2 years,
yeah, that's
well,
what you've budgeted for. So like,
that's 100. That's 104 weeks, so at least 104,000 ADA. But with the golden darts, it usually doesn't double it, but it makes like a half.
Typically
So
15, 16.
I would say easily in between 175 to 200,000 ADA.
yeah, I mean that's significant amounts. However you look at it.
That's not including any bonus pot or any other NFT we've given away either.
Well, that includes the golden darts because like I said, so like what we play with every week is we guarantee 1,000 ADA. Once we're sold out, it'll be 1,000 ADA plus 5% of the royalties. So of the previous week. So with that and the golden dart, it's easily pushing 200,000 ADA over the course of the 2 years we guaranteed to play it.
And then, the cards that come out, that'll help sustain the game for as long as we can run it.
Like the game was our first big the Dangerous Darts was our first big catalyst, but our end goal is basically making our coin worth money through our video game and our partnerships. That's our real end goal, which I think is, if you look at a lot of especially what Bored Apes is doing and a lot of other projects, like that seems to be the end game with a lot of it, is getting the native token and giving it value.
So have you had to go through any special hoops for registering the business and stuff like that? I don't know what the tax situation in America is like very well at the minute. So like I know that there's issues around.
We'll probably do all that and set it up as an LLC once we start with the merch. Because once we start with the merch, that's whenever we'll actually be using like fiat, But as far as like from and it just depends on who you talk to, and even like you said, different countries. For it to become like a taxable event is when you convert it into fiat.
Then it becomes capital gains.
Yeah.
So Frog Factory, for anything that is requiring cash right now, like that's coming out of like our personal pockets because we're not selling ADA under Frog Factory.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, I know there was some talk about every transaction becoming a taxable event, which would be awkward.
I just don't see how that can happen, because that is like they're basically, from everything I've seen and read and studied about, they basically base most of crypto laws off of whether or not it's a security, which is like a stock or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you don't pay taxes when you buy a stock. You really only pay taxes when you sell it for a profit or when you get dividends. So like if I bought $1 million worth of ADA and I never touched it, like I would never pay taxes on it. And the same thing with like a stock. Like you don't pay. So I don't know why they would regulate it harder than they would regulate the stock market.
Well, we know why. Because that way they can tax it more.
Yeah, but only whenever you sell it, not whenever you just hold it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been some other vagaries in the US system that I know a bit more about. Like poker players weren't able to write off losses against winning sessions, for instance.
Yeah. Well, have you seen how Decentraland like skirts having a gaming license for their casinos?
No, I've not kept up on that one. I'm not really a metaverse.
So they're basically like that's where I got the idea for it. Like what I was talking about earlier. So like to go in there and play their casino, you have to buy an NFT, and you have your native tokens or whatever, and then whatever you win is given to you in an NFT that you can sell that they'll buy.
Right. Okay.
So in other words, you don't walk into like the Decentraland casino and win $1 million. You know, you win an NFT.
Yeah. That.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that people, the government and everything, will figure a way out to tax everything at the end of the day. But
Yeah.
we're not there yet.
No, I mean it's one of those things that it'll happen at some point. It's just
Yeah,
how
for sure.
intrusive they want to be.
And I wish they would just do it sooner rather than later, so we can actually know. Like
Yeah, the certainty would help a lot, and it's the same in the UK as well. Like there's some very pro crypto people around, but there's also some high profile people rather against it. So
yeah,
the,
yeah, and they got the power. They got all the power. So
yeah, pretty well. Funnily enough, the result of whether we still have a prime minister was due at the time that we started the AMA. So who knows? There might be a change of the guard soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So right now it's Boris, right? Is that his name?
Yeah, Boris Johnson.
Yeah,
He's the English mini Trump,
yeah.
and
That's what
has
I've
the hair
heard.
to match. But yeah, should probably avoid talking too much about that.
Yeah,
But I do have strong views, but yeah, which is exactly why we shouldn't talk about it.
yeah. It's a tattoo shop. It's like a parlor. We try not to talk about too much politics and religion and stuff like that because everyone has differing views.
Yeah, and as much as my views seem rather reasonable to me, they don't to other also very reasonable people. So it's one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, minting as of Wednesday, and
Yes.
then public somewhere around Sunday. You hope.
Yep.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yep.
So yeah, I'll make sure that's updated in the calendar because I'm not quite sure what I've got down for you at the minute. It's a challenge keeping up with everybody and their shifting postponements and bring forwards and shifting to get away from cornucopia, and it's quite a fluid time for mint dates at the minute.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a ton more projects. I don't even know how many projects are on Cardano now.
They pop up every day.
So a little bit of an interesting question to take us out with. What was your guys' first Cardano NFTs that you bought? Like the first
Go
one?
ahead, Keaton. Give it. Keaton's got a good one.
All right, guys. So my masterpiece that got me hooked, it was Wolves of Cardano.
Oh,
And then
okay.
I took it, no shade thrown at them because they did get me in the space, but I took a L on that project, and then the second project I minted was Cryptius, and I'm a fan of Cryptius still. And like big shout out to Cryptius. Like if I'm being honest, they played a part in getting Frog Factory going. Not their actual project, but that's what we gave away for our first giveaway was. It was my only NFT at the time. It was a Cryptius. We gave it away, and we never looked back. That's kind of how Frog Factory, the first giveaway on Twitter
Nice.
went.
Nice.
My first one was technically equine. And that's what's so funny about it is like I was telling everyone, like I had like a couple of ETH NFTs, and Waylon, like I said, had been paid for some tattoos and ETH NFTs, and I had started like Cardano had started to dip a little bit, so I was like, I'm going to spend all my Cardano on stuff, and I found out about equine and about how it was going to be this horse racing game, and I was talking about it for like 2 weeks leading up to the mint. I was telling everyone like, oh, it's gonna be so cool. You can breed horses, yada yada yada. And then like 2 days before, or maybe like 3 or 4 days, Boss Cat somehow got on my radar, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to get some of these too. And I mean, I'm super glad that I spent like 1,500 ADA on equine, and I got like 6 horses or whatever. But like if I wouldn't if I would have spent all that money on Boss Cat stuff, I would have $200,000 worth of Boss Cat stuff right now. But yeah, Boss Cat and Equine were definitely my first Cardano NFTs.
So my first NFT was actually the frogs. So
Nice. No,
that was
there's nothing to be ashamed about there.
yeah, so that was my first project. And I mean, I think my second project was the Cardano clans, and I still hold a bunch of them. They minted right around the same time we did.
And then Patrick's got one.
My first one, it's not a big one. There's only like a couple hundred Discord members. Was Pineapple Pizza DJ Club. It's a little bit.
That's new.
It's newer. It's made by Chatty
not gonna
Yellow.
lie, that's not one that was on my radar.
I remember when those minted.
No, that's cool. I mean, my first Cardano NFT was a Cardino, so that's how I got into the space.
I definitely watched a lot of videos on those because when I was first decided I was going to spend all the ADA I had on stuff, I watched a lot of videos on obviously Space Buds and Clays and the Cardino ones too. I never pulled the trigger on one, but I still kind of want one.
Yeah, I mean we're in game development stage with Cardinos at the minute. It's one of those things where tools has become very important. So the game is going to take longer than we originally hoped because obviously tools has to work at this point with all the verification and everything like that we do across the space. So it's going to take a little bit longer.
I love tools. I use it every day.
Same.
Yeah,
It's
I mean
definitely
you're listed on our website, and do you use our bots for your verification as well?
Do we? I use it in other projects. That'd be a question for Patrick and
Ben actually came up with an algorithm for our trade stuff.
No, he means do we use their
Like the
bot
verification.
to verify wallet?
Patrick, what bot are we using currently?
We're using. We have what's it called, Hazelnut.
Oh yeah. No, they're good. They're doing something fairly similar to us. Obviously, I like to think that we have a better overall package, but with the website integration, we've got a calendar integration going on now as well. So when you favourite a project on your on the calendar, you can type /toolhead in one of our channels, and it will show you your wallet value and all the projects that you've got coming up and their mint dates and stuff like that in Discord as well.
Oh yeah, I definitely use that. I mean, because I know I have a lot of retro heads.
Nice.
I know that
yeah.
I used I've got my wallet linked through tools and their Discord and stuff, and that's how I became a headhunter or whatever the thing is where you own all the heads in there, and I definitely used. It was way easier to get all the ones I needed, being able to look at what was in my wallet on tools.
Yeah. So I mean, we've made a lot of additions since then with the wallet view and the values and stuff like that. And there's actually a lot coming down the line. I can't really talk too much about yet. It's the kind of thing that they're ready when they're ready, and other stuff has to be ready first. But there's going to be some very significant improvements in wallet valuations and stuff coming in the future.
Right on.
And,
Does it just base it off the floor?
Some more sniping info and stuff as well.
Ooh.
Right now, does it just base it off the floor of a particular project?
Yes. So when you look at it, it will show you sort of like you've got 3 times whatever NFTs. It will say 150 ADA, and that's just 3 times the floor value for that project. And then when you go to trait value, that's the floor of the highest value trait that you own on an NFT.
Yeah, I figured that's how it was kind of. That's cool.
But yeah, there's some significant improvements because obviously it's a very clumsy way of valuing NFTs, especially when you consider the fact that if something's on sale, that means that it's not been sold, so that can't be its value, even if that's the full value, because otherwise it would have sold, right? So
yeah, and see that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like is a little bit disingenuous about how Jungle works, because from what I understand, they just scrape the blockchain and they assign values based on kind of like how the generator does about on like a rarity score.
Yeah, I mean,
so someone's like, oh, this trait's worth this much, so I'm gonna like if you're only using that, like I've seen a ton of people buy stuff they think is going to be high ranking based off of Jungle's rarity scores, and it turns out it's not. you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to get involved in a discussion in that type of discussion.
Right
I
on.
will say that every single rarity site is going to have its own answer to everything,
Yeah,
just because of how it is, and I think a lot of people get far too hung up on rarity as an indication of value.
yeah, they
Um,
do.
like there's projects like yours where I think rarities matter a lot less, as it's a lot more art based. For other
Yep.
projects, maybe not so much. I'm not going to start
And that was
pissing
intentional
people
for us
off.
too.
And for the record,
That was intentional for us because we wanted lower. We wanted our lower, ranking frogs to matter just as much as our higher ones.
but for the record, our ranking is officially
Tools.
CNFT tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like, as one of the challenges Jungle faces from the way they do things is that we get to spend time fixing all the spelling mistakes and that sort of thing. Where there's an extra space where there shouldn't be, we get the chance to go through all that, fix all those little errors and bugs. Whereas Jungle taking it straight off as it's minted don't have those errors fixed already. So
Yeah.
so they publish then fix, whereas we fix then publish.
Right on.
So it's a different business model. I do have to say that I do like a lot of the stuff they got in development over there. Um, I just know that we have plans as well. So
Right on.
it's one of those things. Obviously I can't go into too much detail, but
No, totally
yeah,
understand.
we're certainly remaining competitive. Like it's good to have other sites popping up around and giving people a different view, because I mean the whole idea of decentralization is that you should be able to get all the information that you need from different places, and
Yeah.
rarity rankings and stuff and opinions and things like that are a very important part of that. You shouldn't just be relying on what one person or what one site says.
Agreed.
And yeah, like I think in a lot of projects, rarity should only count for say 20% of a value. Other projects it might be 50% or 60% of a value. Like it's something that's very subjective and is different for every single project. But yeah, that's me having a little waffle there, I guess. But that's kind of how that's kind of how I feel about it after working for tools for so long and everything. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. I'd rather have a nice looking one rather than a rare one the vast majority of the time, personally.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's like what I'm doing now. Like I own one frog because I don't like the idea of because that's one of the things that I always before I had a project I would think about like, well, these guys are controlling certain aspects of the project and who gets what and whatever. Like I own one frog, and it's one that I bought off secondary that had the Japanese bodysuit, obviously because I'm into tattoos, and I honestly spent like 8 hours drawing that thing. So, um, and I don't know what it's ranked. You know what I mean? So like, and same thing with like boss cats. Now that I have a bunch of boss cats, the only ones that I try to buy are ones that have like the Japanese bodysuit. So, or like I like also like punk rock jackets and different. It's like so I have a punk rock jacket, cat. I have a punk rock jacket, dead rabbit, and there's something else that had a punk rock jacket. I tried to get a punk rock jacket, chilled Kong, but they just got insane. They're like, I think
Yeah,
the cheapest one's like 15,000 or something now.
yeah, that's
So
that. That's
I definitely get the whole like wanting certain traits or just liking certain art things on projects for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's nice things to have over a range of projects as well. Like, I've got a thing where if I see a joint, well, okay, like, I kind of like a joint. That's what I want. It's like you identify with the different things that are going on in different projects. So,
Yeah.
or the same thing over different projects, like different interpretations and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because like our Japanese bodysuit looks different than uh, the cats, and like the way Jeff designed the punk rock jacket for the frogs is even different from how the punk rock jacket looks for the cats or the Kongs and stuff like that. So it is cool. It is cool to see like different people's interpretations of things. Just like when we did the pilot helmet for the pugs, the way that the ears were for the pugs, we had to make it in a way to where it was, it looked different from other pilot helmets and other NFT projects. But I think that it adds so much to it, especially if you're a fan of that specific trait.
Yeah, I mean, like it's great, and what I love about the Cardano community is how everybody works together and doesn't get bent out of shape out of somebody taking inspiration and doing it in a slightly different way sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
Like there's that I've never heard anyone, well, this project has got that trait. Why are you doing it? They're like, they're you know what I mean. Like people get bent out of shape about weird things sometimes, but I've not, that's something that I've not seen, which is quite nice.
Yeah, and that being said, I mean, how many different hats are there in the world? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
well,
hard
yeah.
not.
It's the same in the music industry and lyrics and
Yeah.
riffs and stuff. Like everything sounds like something else now.
How
Like
dare you use a cowboy hat
you
in
take it
poker?
like it's how it is. Though
Yeah, and
every now and again you can get surprised, but it's not as often as you'd hope these days.
yeah, and it's the same thing in the tattoo world. Everybody wants to say tattoo, but as an artist perspective, we want to change it, put our own twist on things. We deal with that constantly.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one tattoo I've ever really wanted. It's just kind of out of my budget. But I always wanted like an ice dragon on my back, like rising above mountains with the tail following the curve between the mountains.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a beefy amount of work that I don't have the time or the money for, unfortunately.
Hey, to help out with the money, Four Frogs will yield you a 35% discount on any tattoo from our artist. If you'll be at CNFTCon, you can maybe put that to use.
I won't be at CNFTCon this year. I'm stuck in England, unfortunately, but I'm not going to rule out next year, as I will actually be in the States by then. So
Ooh, okay.
I'm moving to the States to be with my wife. We married last year, and she's in the US and I'm in the UK. So we're just going through the immigration process and getting frustrated with it. But yeah, I'll be in the country next year. So we'll see what we can
Awesome.
do about CNFTCon.
Well, Tool,
ToolSin
I'm
has
glad
some
that I had to jump
awesome.
up here. I'm glad to hear you're converting. I'm sure Legion and them will really look up to you now.
I say, well, it'll be fun. I'll be in the middle of nowhere where no one can get hold of me unless I want them to as well. So, yeah. But yeah, that being said, I think we've probably. I mean, you are one of my 3 or 4 longest AMAs already, which shows you how much I've certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did too. We appreciate you
Yeah,
having us on.
absolutely. Yeah, anytime. Just hit us up.
We'll hit you up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I've got well, it's more of a discussion session coming up on Sunday, next Sunday at 7 o'clock UTC, and it's going to be about doing your own research. There's an awful lot of people say do your own research, but nobody ever actually explains what that means. So be cool if like one or two of you guys could come over and like explain what you were looking for in projects when you were like signing up and everything like that, and a little bit new, and some of the red flags that you see that maybe other people aren't so aware of yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be more than happy to do that. Just to speak on that really quick, docs teams.
I mean that's another conversation we'll have on Sunday as well. I have a slightly more relaxed view of docs myself, so it'll be an interesting discussion to have, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time and the space for allowing us to speak. So thank you.
Yes, absolute pleasure having you all on, and yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back in the future so we can find out more about the game.
Absolutely. Thank you for everybody coming. It's been a pleasure. Make sure you tune in Dangerous Darts, all the videos that are coming out. Go show everybody some love that's in the attendance. Make sure you add them as a friend on Discord, etc. But yeah, we're about to go get set up for Dangerous Darts, so stay tuned.
Yeah, and if you're watching this on YouTube on a replay, feel free to give it a like and a share and subscribe and all that juicy social media goodness. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Absolutely. We will see you guys later.
Cheerio.